Germany has slashed their EV subsidies and their EV sales have fallen. Does this mean that EVs cannot be sold without subsidies? Other countries seem to be doing a pretty good job of it. Not all of them, of course, but numbers are still looking pretty good when you zoom out and look at the global picture. So we're going to look at Germany. We're going to look at some of their domestic and imported brands and try and make some sense of it. I got my buddy Herbert here who knows his way around a few numbers from time to time, and he's going to help us try and make sense of it. Can it happen? Can we do it? We will find out in this thrilling episode of Futuraza. Got a little silly on the intro there, Herbert. I apologize for that, but I have fun. That's what I got to do. Otherwise, it starts to feel like work, man. I can't do that. I can't be bothered. So I saw this concerning article by Cars Scoops. Germany EV sales crashed 28% in first full year without subsidies. However, German citizens are heading to the polls in February and a new government may offer some support. Hey, that's not the solution, but whatever, maybe it is. Beautiful shot of the Audi e-tron. I almost called this the Porsche Taycan. It's the same car. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And as beautiful as it is, it still has a fantastically low coefficient of drag. Proof that you can make something that doesn't look like a bar of soap. Which, I mean, I'm just saying, a lot of them do not look, a lot of cars do not look good. EVs lost market share in Germany last year, now making up just 13.5% of new car sales, which I think is still pretty good. While EV sales dropped, hybrids grew a little bit, and plug-ins grew even less. So it was December of 23 that the German government scrapped the almost $5,500, $6,000 credit for EV buyers. So US and China reported growth in EV sales. Now, China doesn't have incentives per se. They have more stick than carrot. But the U.S. does still have, for a number of manufacturers, EV credits available. And certainly the biggest brand, Tesla, largely qualifies for those. So before we get into the brand by brand breakdown, what do you make of this? Do you think they're onto something? Do you think that the EV credit is the issue?
Well, I think price is the most important thing, right? When somebody's making a decision on price, on a car choice, that's going to be one of the top issues. I think that when you saw the statistics, it basically says price is number one, range anxiety is number two. And so if you don't have price parity with gas cars, with other alternatives, it's going to make it harder for people to decide to go electric vehicle. That's step one. So I do think that makes a difference. I mean, 4,500 euros could impact it. That's how come they saw the sales grow. Depends on where they're at, though, right? So Tesla, the U.S. is what, 8%, 9%. I think we're hitting 9% of all new sales are electric vehicles. Where is Europe at? Do you have that number now?
I don't have it in front of me. Let me grab it.
I think it's probably around what, 15, 20%. We'll see. Tell me where we're on there. So at this point, it's still too low for people to kind of like make the decision, say, I'm going to buy the EV regardless, as opposed to China now, right? Over 50% of all cars sold in China as of 2024 is now either a battery electric vehicle or a new electric vehicle, which is the hybrids included to that 50%. And so it's very clear at that point that if you don't buy the car of choice an electric vehicle, and like you're saying, there's also these disincentives in owning battery cars there. So it's very clear at that point. In Europe, I think they're still at that stage, right, of deciding where we're at. 22% of all new car registrations is electric vehicle. And so they're still at that point. I think that it does make a difference, this loss of this incentive.
I will add to that your second point, which was range anxiety. In Europe, there are a lot more people who do not have access to their own garage. Jan from Tesla Fix is a good example. He can't charge at home. I asked, can you charge at your mom's house? No, my mom's house doesn't have access to charging either. I am in a pickle. So he has to rely exclusively on public chargers, which is not ideal. A lot of the financial savings, a lot of the convenience comes to those who have the ability to charge at home or work. So that is a deterrent for sure.
I want to ask, I'll also add this, that there's something very unique in Europe, and I think Germany as well, that's unlike any other country, is that it says here that 54% of all new car registrations in Europe, it's by businesses, it's by dealerships, it's by rentals and fleets, it says here. So battery electric vehicles, 50% of registrations were for business purposes. So it's almost like, seems like it's the company that will buy, it's companies that are buying these vehicles more than consumers directly themselves. So you got to give that a lot of kind of consideration here of why the incentives that it impact the businesses, that the businesses economy, in the economy that they're in right now, that they pull back, those kind of questions.
I agree on all that. Winners and losers in the brand race.
Yeah.
So we've seen, I'll just skip down to the chart here. Volkswagen modestly up 3.4% to a whopping 19% market share. Very good. Mercedes down. That's interesting. BMW flat. Skoda, which is a VW sub-brand, up. So that more than makes up for the weakness for the VW brand. Audi down. Seat, which is another VW sub-brand. But yeah, Ford way down, Hyundai down a bit, Toyota up because they finally started selling. But now we're into smaller numbers where these big swings are going to be seen. Peugeot is way up, but on 67,000, that's not really all that impressive. But yeah, where's Tesla on this list? I lost it.
Nope.
You see it?
Middle. Yep, they were in the middle. Keep going up. There you go.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, down 41%, but it's only 37,000 units.
This is Germany only. Yeah.
German, yes, but it's 1.3% market share.
Yeah.
So what I think we're seeing here is a love for the domestic brands. Now, some of these are way down. Mini is made by BMW. It is way down, but I think it's because they're not choosing to sell them as much. I think there's a lot of love for the domestic brands, and that edges out Tesla. If you're competing against BMW 3 Series and some of the more affordable Mercedes, I can see why you would rather have a BMW or a Mercedes if that's your home team. And I think that plays a role in it. Do you think that's possible, or am I crazy here?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, we do know that Tesla did have a reduction in sales, as you saw in Germany. That's specifically Germany. You got to look at the whole Europe. It's very different. Every country is different from each other. But yes, I think there's softening demand in Europe. It's all, as far as I'm, like everything I've read and studied so far, it's mostly related to the economy. It's not because of a brand. Oh, people hate Teslas now. They don't want to buy Teslas anymore. It really, that's not what I'm interpreting. You can see blockbuster sales of Teslas in China, in the US, and so kind of like not as high, but still growth. So there's no concern about Tesla's brand. I think the most recent statistic or survey that came out just a few days ago was Tesla is the #1 brand that's being searched for across the world by far. So those those are the things to consider. Now, one thing I don't know is whether the politics is somehow impacting this.
I don't know. I have asked Jan from Tesla Fix about that, and he is of the opinion that it is not, that most Germans don't follow international politics to a degree that would lead them to politicize Tesla. Not to say that they don't follow politics or international politics, but their perception of it will clearly be different than ours. And worth mentioning, the Chinese brands on here are really struggling because they also got slapped with a big import duty. NIO sold 398 cars. Now, these are the guys that have battery swaps, which many of their investors believe is their differentiating factor that will save them.
That's like a BYD.
BYD down 30%.
Yeah. Is this, can you
Great
just
Wall
review
Motors is
again?
another
Is this for all of 2024?
This is, as I understand, for all of 2024.
2024. Yep.
Yeah. So it is, but yeah, GWM is Great Wall Motors. That is, let's see, what else have we got on here that's Chinese? Well, and some of Tesla's sales was Chinese cars. The Model 3 was a Chinese car. So that could be part of it. The MG is made in China, I think. Yes. So, yeah, that's a trend. Land Rover, I think, is made in India. But yeah, Great Wall Motors is down. BYD is down. SsangYong, I don't know where that is, but I'm guessing it's not a domestic German brand. Yeah, Neo, boy, that's just brutal. Lucid up to almost 300% on 400 cars.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is tricky. Yeah. Fisker's down. So these are considerations. These are valid concerns, I suppose. Do you think, well, I guess my first question is, do you think we're going to see the IRA credit sustain throughout 2025?
For here in the U.S.?
Yes.
Yeah. Before we get there, the other thing to consider is the price range of these cars, right?
Yes.
Again, the economic factors that are impacting Germany's economic performance was one of the biggest things that happened in 2024, not just the loss of those incentives. So people are going to gravitate towards the more lower price cars too. That's something you just need to consider when trying to figure this out. Will the IRA credits be affected this year? I'm hearing 2 points, right? One is that when Trump gets elected, it goes into power in January this month. It will take time for the Congress to make changes to IRA for batteries, but it could be something that they can do for the consumers. I don't know the answer to that, but that's what I'm hearing. If they can, then it can happen soon. I don't think it's a top priority. It'll probably happen in the second half of this year. That's my expectation at this point.
Yeah, I've heard suggestions that while it would take an act of Congress to actually repeal it, that they could do something a little craftier, like just shut off the website that
Or they
processes
can
them.
limit the vehicles. They can make rules of which vehicles it applies to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they would do that, because then it will say, oh, Teslas, you don't get it, but other cars you can. Or I think if Elon is very involved in this, he's going to push for a reduction in subsidies, not only for the IRA. Let's get rid of the IRA. Let's make that happen right away for all cars, all electric vehicles. But he'll also say that gas cars should also be reduced subsidies as well.
Well, that one would be a lot harder to do. That would be. There's a little bit of money in oil. I don't know if you know that, but they call it big oil for a reason, and it's not because the carbon chain is very long, though it is. Guys, in the comments, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? I appreciate having Herbert here. Make him feel welcome. Big round of applause in the comments below. That's a thing I decided. And yeah, everybody else, like, subscribe, do what you do. And my referral link is now active again. We're in the new calendar year. Maybe if you're going to buy one, and I have helped you get smarter about it. Herbert's made you brighter, but I mean, he does that. That's just his thing. So, yeah, everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the Flippity Flop.